What's up, guys? It's Chase with Energy to Conquer, and today is day 48 on my experimental journey to increasing my energy, my mental clarity, and my overall focus. Guys, look, if you don't feel like you have the energy you once had, or you don't feel like you have the energy you should, you're finding yourself wake up tired in the mornings, you find yourself tired and groggy and cranky at work, you find yourself getting short with people, you find you don't have enough energy. When you get home in the evenings, it's like you have this guilt and you have this pressure, but there just ain't enough capacity because you don't have the energy and you just don't really feel your best. So you can't give your children, your family, you can't give your friends your 100%, and that kind of weighs down on you. It feels guilt because you just don't have the energy, right? We don't have the energy. And today in our society, this almost seems like a rite of passage, but it doesn't have to be that way. There's a lot of things that we're doing that's causing us to feel this way. And so that's what this channel is about, is just helping you sort out these issues and get your life back on track, get your energy back. Because the reality is, guys, if you don't have the energy, it's going to affect every area of your life. There's nothing more important than your energy. It's affecting your relationships, it's affecting your physical health, it's affecting your mental health, it's affecting your business or whatever it is you do for work. Like, it's having all these effects on our health and our whole life, right? It's really, it's our fulfillment, it's our joy. Everything is based around this energy conversation, right? And so if you don't have energy, you're not going to have a high quality of life. So if you don't feel like your life is, I guess, having the quality of life that you want, like if you don't feel like you should, I guarantee if you trace things back, a lot of this is coming back to energy and not having the energy to do the things that you know you should be doing, because you just don't feel your best, right? So look, guys, if any of that relates to you, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, get notifications. If you like the content in this video or any of my other videos, be sure to give them a thumbs up, give them that like, let us know that you like it. If you don't like it, if you think I'm completely full of it, whatever you think, please let us know in the comments. Look, if you love it, let us know in the comments as well. Would love to have your feedback on that. But the more you like, the more you comment, the more it'll help us reach more people with this content. So look, guys, today is about fighting temptation and I guess why we struggle with temptation, the hidden battle of temptation, what's really going on. Yesterday, I made this video, a long video, but talking about how we're being manipulated. And this kind of a bigger picture thing, but today I'm going to, it's really an extension of that video. So that's a really great video. It's such an important topic that's not really being discussed. So you can go back and watch that video. I'm going to link it below this one. Just be sure to check the comments. I'll put the link to the video in there. You can go watch that one. Such an important video, but this one's going to kind of build on that one. So you can watch this one, go back and watch that one, or you can watch that one, come back and watch this one, whatever it is you need to do, right? But here's the deal, guys. The reason you're being tempted to not stick to your diets, the reason that you're being tempted to not stick to your workout plans, like, there's a lot more going on than just your willpower. It's like just your force of will. Like, there's environmental conditioning that's happening around you that's trying to take you off this game. So you ever been on a diet, right? But next thing you know, like, this event's happening, or you're having a conversation with somebody and it's like these little seeds are being planted, and it's like, I could never do that, or either, you know, I want to, or they start talking about a food and you're like, oh, I can't eat that. And it's like all this conditioning is happening, and it's almost like talking us out of really our diet, but even our fitness plans. You know, you start having conversations and people will have a lot of negative conversations, so that kind of starts just playing on the conversations in our head. And so where is all this coming from, right? Why is it normal to not be healthy? Why is it normal to eat food that's going to make us feel like crap? Why is it normal to eat food that we know is going to make us fat, that's going to give us cancer, it's going to give us heart? Like, we chase after these emotional reasons for doing things instead of logic. And it's like, you know, guys, everybody says, oh, it's rewarding to eat sweet stuff and candy and whatever it is you're eating, like to gorge yourself in food you shouldn't be eating. you know, everybody's like it feels good and it feels great, and you're right, but at the same time it can feel just as good to have the discipline. Like, I guess when you're focusing on the now, you're focusing on the instant gratification, but when you focus on the discipline, it's more of a long-term game, but it can feel just as good when you eat a meal with other people who are eating junk food or food that doesn't fit your diet, but you have the, I guess, the willpower and the discipline. Like, after that moment, like, it sucks in the moment, but after that moment you feel 10 times better, and plus your energy feels better. You have way higher energy, and you don't, I guess, you don't feel like crap. Like, they're gonna, you know, they go eat cupcakes and brownies and ice cream, they're gonna pay a cost for that, right? But once you do this enough, you're gonna realize, well, when I don't do that, I don't pay that cost and I actually feel good. When I don't overeat, I actually feel good. When I eat a chicken salad, right, a salad with chicken on it, when I eat that instead of, you know, eating pizza or a bunch of pasta or whatever it is, like this real heavy, you know, stuff with a lot of fat, a lot of carbs, and just this processed goo, you feel better, right? So when you're hanging out with people and that's what they're eating, and then you eat the other, it's hard, right? Because we all want the instant gratification of how it tastes in our mouth, right? In our taste buds. And, you know, we get into emotional eatings, and then we feel like we're being left out, and we feel like we're missing out on something. And it's this whole complex dynamic, right? But the thing is, like, when you do practice the disciplines, you feel better after the fact. So today is like extension of the video, as I said before. So the video from yesterday was day 47, and in that video I talked about a lot of things, but there's a big topic of how we're being manipulated and how we're being lied to, and basically there's this cognitive bias that's being pushed on us through a lot of different industries that's conditioning how we think. And the problem is, guys, here's the thing, is like, the 5 people that you hang out with the most, like, you show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And that's, I didn't come up with that, right? That's a lot of people, right? I don't know who come up with it. It's old, it's been around forever, but show me your 5 closest friends, I'll show you your future. And I picked it up from Dan Pena. I'm sure I'd probably heard it before, but he really pushes that hard. Show me your 5 closest friends, I'll show you your future. And what he means by that is, show me your friend's health, your 5 closest friends, show me their health, and I'll show you what your health is going to be. So if you hang out with fit people, then guess what habits you're going to pick up? You're going to pick up fit habits. And the reason you're going to pick up those habits is because of the conversation. So they're going to have fit conversations. Those conversations are going to dictate the conversations that you have in your head when they're not around. The more you're around fit people that's doing fit things, that's eating, you know, healthy food and doing exercise, then the more those conversations are going to become your conversations in your head. And when those conversations become your conversations in your head that you're having throughout the day, right? That is when you start kind of programming your subconscious mind, so to say. So you can get in this whole self-talk argument, but there is a book, actually a couple books, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, and he's got another book that's a lot simpler. I think it's only like $5 on Amazon. I'll try to find a link and I'll put it down here. But it's Shad Helmstetter. He's been doing this stuff, studying this stuff for like 30 years on self-talk. But, you know, basically you can program your brain for the good or for the bad through the conversations that we have in our head. And a lot of that's coming from the people that we hang out with. So those 5 people that we are our 5 closest friends, right? So it doesn't matter. You hang out with broke people, pretty good chances you're going to end up being broke like them. If you hang out with rich people, pretty good chances you're going to end up picking up those habits and those conversations, right? You're not going to be making dumb financial decisions. Like, you're not going to be going out and buying stuff you can't afford, or you're not going to be going out and buying stuff for just to make you feel good or for pleasure. When you're hanging out with rich people, you're going to take that money, you're going to take the same money that you would have went and bought, I don't know, a 10-foot wide TV screen, right? Because everybody needs one of those. Right, you would take that and maybe invest it in something that's actually going to give you a return on your investment instead of just decline in value, right? So that's the kind of the conversations that you would start having. Same thing with if you're hanging out with fit people or people who eat healthy, right? Just ultra healthy, clean eaters. You're not going to show up and hang out with these people and eat a whole large pizza by yourself, right? It's just not going to happen. But the thing is, you know, their conversations about how they approach food and just the things they eat is going to be completely different than if you're hanging out with people that's 100 pounds overweight, right? If your 5 closest friends are 100 pounds overweight, I guarantee you hang out with them long enough, that's where you're going to be. And I'm not saying don't hang out with people because of their weight or their habits, but you do need to be conscious of this, right? I'm not trying to be politically correct here, but if you hang out with these people, right, they're going to end up almost brainwashing you with their thoughts, right? So if you're trying to change your habits and you're hanging out with people who says exercise is stupid, if you're hanging out with, you know, why would anybody exercise? The biggest one, the greatest one, when you start running, if you ever run, well, if they see me running, there's probably a bear chasing me, right? Something stupid like that. Like that's the conversations you have when you're in circles with people who are unhealthy, who are not really focused on health. And so those conversations, and so they almost begin to belittle you with their just little conversation, maybe kicking you around, but those get in your subconscious, and then they start getting you in your conversations, and then you start doubting yourself, and the next thing you know, that's programming your brain, right? That's programming you on how you look, and you start dreading stuff, and you're saying this is stupid. You're talking yourself out of stuff. It affects your self-confidence, your self-esteem, all these things. And it's the same thing with why you eat salads all the time, right? Why do you eat so many salads? Oh, I could never do that, right? I love cupcakes too much, right? It's like I love to eat cake and drink sweet coffees and whatever it is you do, right? Oh no, I could never live without pizza and french fries, right? And so they start treating you like you're an abnormality. And I think all of us, like, we have this need to fit in society. And if it's this, the constant influences that you have, these 5 people, they're going to dictate whether you stick to your diet or not. They're going to dictate like whether you stick to your fitness program or not, unless you change those friends or at least get away from them for a period of time until you can become, I guess, mentally strong and mentally fit enough to handle it, like, or at least until you can create the habits and get the results, right? Or either you have to start calling them out on their BS, right? But most people, it's not going to do that, because it's going to end some friendships real quick, because nobody wants to be around that. So guys, that's kind of what this is about. And you know, you've got to be careful with who you hang out with. You've got to be careful with who you spend your time with. You know, if you're hanging out with people that's in abusive relationships, if your 5 closest friends are in abusive relationships, that's not a good place to be, right? You definitely don't want those people influencing you or your spouse, right? And that's kind of an extreme example, but it just, you know, there's all different types of people, and you get in circles. And you know, if you're hanging out with people that's, you know, junkies or just abusing drugs, or maybe they're just functioning addicts, or, you know, meaning they work during the week, but then during the weekends they just let it go, or maybe they just party all weekend and maybe they don't have a problem, right? Maybe they just like to drink a little too much, and whatever it is they do. But if that's your 5 closest friends, then more than likely that's what you're going to end up doing, right? So if you want to get out of that environment and change that habit, right, you've got to associate with different people, or just associate with no one. Sometimes it's best to associate with no one, right? You know, I've went through that in my own life. You know, sometimes you just got to get away from people, and I've found to use books like those people, like find the best of the best. Let me get inside their brain, like, and let their conversations become my conversations, right? It's almost like mentorship through a book, right? Because I didn't have those people in my life. I had to figure this stuff out on my own. So now if I want to dive into a subject or a topic, I'll just dive into a bunch of books around that, and that becomes my thoughts, right? And then those become the conversations in my head, and I can tune the rest of the world out. So to come back to my video from yesterday, which was talking about how you're being manipulated, to kind of close this out, guys, look, your friends, those 5 friends that keeps getting you off the rails, right, or whatever, it's like, even though you're smart enough to realize what's going on, the 5 people that you hang out with the most, like, it's influencing them, and they're indirectly influencing you through the commercials they see, through the ads they see, through whatever the celebrities they see are being paid to endorse, for what they see in the movies, the lifestyles, the unrealistic stuff, right? it's that they're influencing you indirectly through those people. And that's why you're having a hard time changing your habits. You're having a hard time changing your mindset. You're having a hard time with the discipline. You're having a hard time sticking to anything. It's because you're trying to change, but the world around you is telling you to stay the same, right? You're changing the conversation in your head with all of your might, just pure willpower. But the 5 people you're hanging out with the most is undoing everything that you do, because those external conversations become internal conversations, right? And so guys, this is something we have to take into account. So yesterday's video, go back and watch it. It's linked down below. Like, go look at that video, have a deep thought with yourself, right? And just got to do a deep analysis and then start being aware. But the thing is, no matter how aware we are, if we allow the people around us to influence us, in which they're going to, if these are people we're having daily conversations with, it's just, I talk about it in that video. It's just you repeat the same messages over and over and over and over and over and over, right? Those in our head, like, they become programs. We all have like tens of thousands, some people estimate, little programs, almost like little computer scripts that run in our head. Like, when this happens, we think this. And so those are being programmed by the things you hear. So whether it's marketing, whether it's music, whether it's movies, whether it's conversations with friends, that's where you're getting programmed to think these thoughts that are completely screwing you up in the area of sticking to your diet, sticking to your fitness plans, whatever it is. And that's why you're being tempted, and that's why you're having such a hard time, and everything's so dreadful, and everything, like, because no matter how hard you work yourself up to see the positives and the logic behind this, like, and how much this makes sense, the rest of the world is coming in and saying no, 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 right? They're saying that's stupid, go eat pizza, go eat cupcakes. Why do you need to work out? You don't need to work out, right? I don't work out. Look at me, I'm only on 15 medications, right? Here, you don't need to work out, just take this medication. So anyways, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. You got to be conscious. Your 5 closest friends are going to predict your future, whether that's your bank account, whether that's your health, whether that's your family, like, whatever it is. Like, that's, I mean, even your education, like, as you're, especially as we're growing up, right? The kids that hang out with kids that's going off to college to do smart things, like, those kids are not, hanging out with the junkies. They get mixed up, but 5 closest friends are going to predict your future. And I don't think there's any place that's more obvious of that than probably high school, and where the kids go from high school for the next 3, 4, 5 years. But it's in all our lives, but it's just obvious to see there, right? And it's probably just as obvious if we begin to honestly look at our life. But look, guys, you've got to change these conversations in your head. You're being manipulated, you're being lied to, your friends are being manipulated, they're being lied to. If they can't see it, like, if they're not aware of it, that's going to have an impact on you if you're around these people all the time. Plain and simple. Like, it doesn't get any more than that either, and I'm not saying 100% across the board, because there is people that, the 1 or 2% of people that are just mentally strong and just have good mental internal conversations, and they can push past all this garbage. But most of us can't, and that's why most of us are in this boat. That's why most of us can't stick to anything. We can't stick to diets, we can't stick to fitness programs, we can't stick to financial budgets, we can't stick to anything, because the world around us is telling us. It's just this constant, like a war, right? It's like just these waves of just bad information just keeps coming in. The more we try, the more the bad information comes, it seems. It just ramps up, right? So guys, it starts here. Being aware. Go back, watch the other video, the video from yesterday, day 47, on how you're being manipulated, how you're being lied to. And then it starts with start controlling the environment around you, which is going to include your friends, sometimes even your family. And Andy Frisella, one of the things I learned from 75 Hard program, in a conversation he had about that, is, if you're trying to stick to your diet plan, and you're going to go to this birthday party, or you got to go to this family event, and you can't be there, like, if you're not strong enough to be there, then don't go. It's not going to hurt you to miss one birthday, one family get together, you know, while you sort out yourself and become more mentally strong. Because reality is, you know, until you figure that out, you know, if you do figure that out, it's going to give you, like, you know, it may give you another 10, 15, 30 years on your life that you can spend with your family. So you may have to miss 1 or 2 family get-togethers, because right now you're so weak till you can sort that out, right? Because what happens when you go to family get-togethers when you're on a diet, everybody acts like you're a fool, and everybody kind of looks at you funny, and your grandma gets mad at you, right? Come on, everybody knows what I'm talking about. You know, you go to a birthday party, you don't eat no cupcake, and everybody, like 15 times, people trying to shove birthday cake or cupcakes at you, right? Some kind of snack food, because it's usually all junk. So maybe you need to skip those things if you're weak, right? Maybe you need to skip them. And that's a conversation you need to have. It doesn't have to be permanent. But right now, while you're in this stage of building your habits and really kind of working this out and changing how you view life and how you approach life, you need to skip these things. So anyways, guys, that's all I have got for you today. Be conscious of your environment, right? Yesterday I talked about the media, like the advertising, and how that's just this constant barrage of bombardment of trying to manipulate you for their gain, not yours. Go back and watch that video, important video. But today is just one step further with how that's affecting your environment, which the people you're around, because ultimately that's affecting them too, just as much as it is you. But regardless of how aware you become of that, you have to be aware that other people are being manipulated by that as well. And that's the only thing that's going to make it easier to be around these people and help you be successful. Or either maybe you just need to detach from these people. Maybe that's permanently, maybe that's for a short period of time. You know, I don't know what your situation is. I don't know where you're at mentally. You know, maybe you've been doing this for years and you've developed some mental toughness and some thick skin. So maybe that just needs to be a short time while you work out your habits. But you know what? Maybe it's just time to let go. And a lot of people don't like that. They don't like change. But if these people are unwilling to change and better their life, and you're wanting to better your life, it's never going to work out. Because what's going to happen is you're always going to have to lower your standards to meet them, because they're never going to raise their standards to meet you. And there's always going to be this gap, right? And either you're closing the gap by going down and decreasing your standards, or either they're going to have to raise or close the gap by raising their standards to meet yours, right? There's this gap. You got to be conscious of that gap, guys. And I don't, you know, that's it. It's the gap, right? So sometimes you just got to cut people out. Sometimes you got to maybe just need to cut people out for a little while and come back and be the example. But you got to be careful, because when you're trying to be that lighthouse, you know, that example for others, it's easy to get sucked back into that old way of life, because that was our default for so long. You know, when we're doing these habits, when we're building these habits of eating healthy and exercising and doing things that give us energy, we're building the habits, but we're resetting our defaults from what we've always known. So that's why it's so damn hard, right? Because our default is to go back to, when we get emotionally upset, we go back to our default, what's comfortable, right? When we get physically stressed, we go back to our default. When we get emotionally stressed, we go back to our default. When we do all these things, so we've got to change that default. So when we get emotionally stressed, our default is healthy, right? Our default is what we should be doing. That is our default. That is our comfort zone, right? Because we know if we go for a run or go lift some weights, you know, when we get stressed, that'll balance us back out and make us feel better. Not eating 2 large pizzas, a large French fry, and 16 cupcakes. That's only making your problems worse, and it's only delaying actually dealing with the issue, right? You're not going to be in a better mental state to make a clearer decision at that point. You're going to be in a vegetative state, because your brain's not working, because your stomach's over digestion and trying to figure out how to deal with all this pretty much toxic food at the levels of sugar and junk you just consumed, right? Your body's having to work triple overtime trying to solve that issue. Of course, you ain't going to have the energy to clearly think through a problem. So guys, you got to reset that default. You got to control your environment, and that's it. So look, guys, if you find anything of value in this video, be sure to give it a like. I know it's a long one again, but these two are so important, right? I'm on this challenge today, or this week, is not eating after 5 o'clock. So that's, you know, that's its own battle, but that's something that, you know, I have to overcome, right? I have to overcome these social norms. And, you know, people looking at me, why ain't you eating dinner? I'm eating a little salad, right? It looks like I'm starving myself, but I really ate before dinner. So anyways, guys, all I got for you today. If you find value in this, be sure to like. If you love it, be sure to comment. If you hate it, be sure to leave a comment. Love to hear your feedback on that. And when you like and comment, that'll help me reach more people. Hope you guys have a blessed day.